Rubio's Auto Mechanic. I am super excited to have you guys come in today. I hadn't heard of you guys before. And so I would love it if you could just spend a little bit of time just introducing both of you. And then I'm really excited to get into your guys' business model, because there's something about your guys' business model that I think definitely differentiates you guys from anybody else that I've talked with.
Well, we're very excited to be here. Thank you, by the way.
Yeah.
We are brand new in the sense of we just opened up shop. I'm the owner, Martin Rubio, and this is our technician, Ivan. Yeah. And what we're trying to do is we're running the shop with the idea of we're more than mechanics. We're neighbors helping neighbors. We believe in sustainability over profit, and we're trying to become a financially stable business, profitable through fleet accounts with other companies. That way we can help out the community around us and stuff, whether that's by eating parts profit or labor and stuff.
Yeah, that's the thing that's interesting. So what is it that kind of put this business model on your radar? Have you been seeing other companies do this similar thing, or is this?
No, I actually, when I became owner of the shop, I'm not actually in the car industry or in this field or anything. I don't know anything about cars themselves. Luckily, our technician and stuff he's helped me grow, build the company and stuff.
Yeah.
It's more of our personal journey with things and stuff like that.
It's kind of like life experiences or the same thing. Like, you don't really see it out there where people just genuinely want to help. And there's things just like Martin doesn't necessarily know cars. That doesn't mean he can't. And then there's things where I know that I can help him with, and it's just in me to help Martin as my friend. And why wouldn't you want to just help your whole community when there's something that you can do to help,
Yeah, that's beautiful.
I feel like we don't always necessarily think about how much we can impact somebody without really trying. Like, there's something that I can do that could be super basic for me on the vehicle, but Martin would never be able to do that, or thinks he would never be able to do that until, I can come over here and show him or do it for him and just kind of explain what went on,
Yeah, people just don't know what's possible or what it is that they can do. And maybe until they see somebody else do it. But what's kind of giving you guys that perspective or that value of giving back to the community that you guys are living in?
For me, anyways, it's very personal in the sense of I'm originally from Oxnard.
Yeah.
And I lived in what my wife, quote unquote, called the ghetto. So when I was growing up, I was the family that would get donated Christmas gifts from other families. We were the family in the food lines. When 2 years ago, our Prius, my water pump went out, and the dealership quoted me $5,000. I didn't have $5,000 in my account.
Yeah.
I did not. I was like, we need to pull this money out of somewhere. And then we still have rent and bills to worry about. But luckily, my friend who actually recommended me, Ivan, was like, dude, just bring it over, buy the part, and we'll put it in for free. He saved me $4,500.
Yeah.
And it's to him, we were just kind of hanging out, but he made a huge impact on my life at that moment. I was also homeless at one point, and the only reason I came out of homelessness was through the generosity of other people. I've myself have never been a very big money person. I have a home, I have a loving family. I don't need to ask for anything else. I am well taken care of. And if we're able to help people, when me and Ivan first met, I told him, I was like, helping people is really, really important to me. Yeah. If you're ever opening to eating your labor, you're like, hey, dude, let's help out this person. Then I'll eat the parts. We won't make any profit. I'm like, we'll break even or whatever, and we'll help out the community. And he was like, dude, that's awesome. I want to do that. So that's a big thing.
Yeah. So you were able to experience it.
Yeah.
What it's like to need something done to your car. And how not having that done to your car is going to impact your life and then the lives of the people that are relying on you.
For a lot of people, their car is their livelihood.
Yeah.
Your car breaks down, then you can't get to work. And then you can lose your job. Or, you know, with your kid, with babysitting and stuff and all that. It makes a huge difference. And then the average person, the average family can't afford a $1,000, $2,000 emergency bill.
Yeah.
You know, and it's if we can make a change where we can, where we stay financially viable as a company through working with other either companies or local businesses, and our technicians are well taken care of, then yeah, I don't mind not making profit off parts. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's beautiful. And
I
then
feel
what
like-
about you, Evan?
Well, the first independent shop that I was at, I got really lucky. He was a really great mentor. And every Friday we would go to lunch with him and a few other shop owners that he was friends with. And every time, like most of the time that we would go, we would all talk about kind of what happened throughout the week, things that we could share with each other, or like kind of how to grow and be better within the group. And I thought that was really amazing just to see a lot of different shops interacting with each other. And then they're all friends. They all hang out. You know, they don't compete with each other. They just want to see each other grow and succeed. So that was kind of my first experience with that. And I realized, like, you know, at the independent shop that I was at, he had a lot of friends who would just come and hang out. And then he didn't have any marketing or anything like that. It was all word of mouth.
Yeah.
And then that just really showed me how strong community is, or just, you know, if you really take pride in what you do and you do a job well, people are going to appreciate that, and they're going to keep coming back, and they're going to recommend their friends to you.
Yeah, totally. Word of mouth. It's the most powerful way of growing your business. And I also think the most meaningful, because like anybody could advertise, anybody could, you know, put out stuff and drive new traffic in, but it's like to give somebody such a good experience that they're putting their own reputation on the line, and then having people that they care about in their life, their family, their friends, like go and have this same experience. Like, unless they're sadistic, like they, you know, that's what you want.
Yeah.
But let's go back to when you talked about that lunch. What was it? What were you expecting for that type of lunch to be, and how was kind of like your mind kind of shifted with what you actually saw?
Well, I started at that independent shop because one of my friends used to work there. So I used to actually be in sales before. And I just, during COVID, I kind of decided, you know, I was making good money, but I just wasn't feeling appreciated enough. And I felt like I wasn't really helping people. So then I went over to that shop because my friend was leaving. And then I worked there for about a day. And he kind of asked me, how do you feel? Do you want to come work here, or are you going to go back? And then just feeling like, knowing that I finished something, you know, I was able to see what I worked on and help somebody out, really felt good. And then, so he was always a really like positive person. He was always talking to everybody and had a lot of friends. So when I went to his lunch, I didn't really have any expectations. I was just kind of going because on Fridays, we'd leave early, we'd go to lunch and then just kind of clean up the shop and hang out. So we just went, and it was really nice to see all these different shops, because one of them worked on Volvos, one strictly in older vehicles, the other one worked on European cars. And it was nice to see that sometimes when we'd get a car that he wouldn't necessarily like to work on European cars, he'd recommend the shop that, you know, we'd hang out with, just because he knew they were going to do a good job.
Yeah.
And it was somebody else that he wanted to see thrive. So I really like that, because I feel like in the automotive industry, it's mainly, you always hear that it's cutthroat, that nobody's going to like, you know, put their hand out for you or help you out. Like, it's sink or swim most of the time, especially when you go to like a dealership or anything like that. So it was really nice to see. And I felt really lucky to, the first shop that I'm at, like, you know, it's really like a home feeling. Like, it felt like a family.
Yeah. That's special, man. And it's cool to see you appreciate that, and that you got that opportunity. And that was your first experience. Have you had any other experiences where it hasn't been like that? Or,
I mean, I worked at a dealership, and I feel like I got pretty lucky there too. Like, the brand that I was with was pretty small, so there was only like 5 of us there. So.
We just got to keep on hanging out with Ivan, man.
Right.
It just keeps
I
on
feel like
lucking out.
I get lucky, man. Or it's kind of just appreciating everything. You know, you listen to what people have to say, and then, you know, you just value what people say. Not everybody's going to share valuable information or life information with you. So if somebody does, I really take that to heart. You know, they're really giving you some piece of advice. So at the dealership, it obviously was more of a dealership atmosphere, but same thing. I feel like I always like to talk to people. So I'd go down to talk to the other brands, and we would all kind of share ideas and stuff like that as well. So even then, I feel like I got lucky at that point. And it's also kind of instilled in me that like, you kind of choose the atmosphere that you want to be in, you know, like if you're going to put that attitude out there, that's the attitude that you're going to get it out, you know, but if you're just a nice person and you're just trying to genuinely help people or listen to people, it becomes really easy to just enjoy time and communicate.
Yeah. So where do you think you kind of developed that value system?
It's the same thing, just kind of growing up, like, you know, being in a family that did kind of get the free Christmas presents or like food or, you know, being helped out, you kind of realize that sometimes you appreciate things a little bit more or you don't notice things. So I felt like as I got older, I just got presented more opportunities that I didn't necessarily see that were there for me. So that's kind of what I like to do to other people is I want to share my experiences and kind of change people's perspective because, you know, like you said, your mind's a very powerful thing. And a lot of it is how you view things and kind of the choice that you make to move forward.
Yeah. And so how did you guys get to the point where you both knew that you wanted to get into Rubio's auto mechanic and make it, you know, become what it is that you have a vision for it to be?
I feel like it was just same thing, just over time talking to each other and really getting to know each other and then just having that communication where we don't always necessarily have to agree on something, but we'll listen to each other's point of view and kind of listen to each other's facts and either adjust to it or, you know, we can also understand this is where we differ and then that's okay too. And then kind of having the same values where I don't necessarily want to do things just for profit. Like, you know, I want to be able to help people. I want to like do things for other people that I'm able to do. And then he shares that same value.
Our mission statement being that we're more than mechanics, we're neighbors helping neighbors. Actually, the reason that we came up with that, or I came up with it, was because of Ivan. Where one thing is we were talking about it, one thing is to talk about it, another thing is to actually do it. And it was a weekend. We're not open on weekends currently. And we weren't at the shop anymore. We had just left. We were there cleaning up. And I get a phone call. And it's from a person who sounded kind of distressed, being like, I'm not from Fillmore. No auto shops are open. This is my situation. And I said, we're not open and none of us actually live in Fillmore, but let me call my technician and see what we can do for you. Ivan lives 45 minutes away. I call him up. I'm like, hey, bro, this is the situation. What do you want to do? And the only thing he says is, this is why we're opening up the shop, right? And I go, yeah. And he drives all the way back to help that person out. And then we put the car into the shop. And then the next day, I ate the parts, he ate the labor, and we helped out someone in need. And at the end of the day, we were in the office and we're like, that felt good. It's like, you know, we're doing what we're saying that we're going to do. You know, at the moment, it wasn't like a super smart financial move, but we made more than a customer. We didn't make it a customer. We made a lifelong connection. Yeah. You know, we helped someone out that was in desperate need at that time. And if, you know, someone helped us out like that in our past, things could be very different, you know? Yeah. It's like you guys are building into something that's greater than just material things. Yeah. You know? And at the end of the day, like material thing, like everything's going to burn, you know, it's all going away. It's like, but it's like you guys are investing in people. Yeah. You know, you guys are investing in their ability to do what it is that they need to do, to have peace of mind and also to know that they're being taken care of. Yeah. You know, that there is a solution to the very immediate problem that they have. And that like whatever might be keeping them from that is going to be taken away. Yeah.
And then sometimes I feel like, you know, what we will really want to do is get to know our customers. Sometimes, you know, it's just knowing what's going on in somebody's day, you know?
It's
having
fun.
that conversation. And
It's funny because so I'm still working my 9 to 5
Yeah.
graveyard shift, and Ivan was still working at his other shop for a while. Kind of like it's kind of hard to tell someone, oh, you quit your established job to join this brand new thing.
Yeah.
And so he was at his other shop, and then he would come after he was done over there. And we ended up getting a customer who was like, "Oh, I'll be there at 1." We're like, "Okay, awesome, that works out for us." And they show up at 11. And then they were like, "Oh, we'll just wait, it's fine." And then we get there, or I get there first, and then Ivan gets there later. But the whole time that we were talking, it was literally just making that human connection in the sense of, they were telling me everything that's going on. They were majority Spanish speaking. And they were like, we're having a hard time filling out this paperwork because it's all in English. And I was like, bring it by. I'm like, I'll help you translate it. And I was like, that's the whole point that we're opening it up. We want to be known as the community shop where people don't just come in for auto repairs. We have Wi-Fi. We have all these things that, I don't want it to feel like you're coming into a dealership or an auto shop where you're just in a waiting room. I want it to feel like you're coming over to a friend's house and they're helping you out with your car, So that was she brought us a thing of, she was a beekeeper. She brought us honey.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it was super cool.
That's incredible.
yeah, so it's kind of like the same thing where even then, like you make a lot of connections kind of just by being out there and sharing,
Yeah.
So if there's people that we know, friends that need help, and then there's another friend that's willing to help, same thing, connect the community and help each other out, like, promote other people's businesses as well.
Yeah. Yeah. So what are some of the challenges that you guys, because you guys are in the beginning stages of really launching this thing. What are some of the challenges that you guys are facing, and how is it that you guys are going to be overcoming those?
At the moment, I think it's setting up the systems, trying to figure out work-life balance with my family, with my job. When it comes to how we're going to run the fleet accounts and how, seeing how we set up the systems to help those people out in that sense, where I pay Ivan 30% flat rate, but 30% of the whole job, not our hourly labor.
Yep.
So I have the conversation with like construction work. Before I was at my job that I am now, I was going to go to Local 300, which is an LA union thing. And I would always talk to them. And I'm like, hey, who makes more money, you or your boss? And they go, my boss. And I'm like, can you do his job? And they go, yeah, we do it when he's not here because we have to do it. Yeah. And then I say, can he do your job? They go, no. And I'm like, but he gets paid more? And it's like, you're the reason that this company is alive right now. I'm like, you're the one, the blood, the pulse of this company. If you guys leave, the company falls. And it's the same thing with Ivan. So it's the whole thing. I'm like, the only reason that we can do what we do is because of him. It's because of the technicians that we hire and stuff like that. It's, I don't want to be the boss, or I don't consider myself a boss. We're business partners. So when it comes to interviewing new people and things like that, it'll be about like the communication of how is he going to work with the team? How is he going to do all these things? Because I don't want to be the person being like, okay, cool, we did 30% better than we did last year. Yeah, let's throw a pizza party. No. I put 20% aside for slow months, for comebacks. It's like, dude, this is your money. You earned that. That's your bonus kind of thing, So it's a setting up the numbers, work-life balance, and then he has a far commute too.
Well, it's about 30 minutes. I live in Oakview, so I drive from Oakview to Fillmore.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, I feel like it's still worth it,
Yeah.
And I think the biggest challenge right now is just setting up the foundation. But I feel like we both had really good past experiences where it's going to take the time to put down the groundwork. But once the groundwork is there, it's just basically more of maintaining it. So I've been lucky enough to be at that first independent shop, and I liked how he ran it, and he was very open about how he ran it. So he taught me how to kind of talk to customers, set up the account and things like that. So that's a big help on that. And it's just kind of continuing to grow and really sticking to what we want to do. Yeah. And then I feel like it's just a really big opportunity where, because Martin is my business partner and we both think alike and we have similar goals and we can discuss everything really well, I think that's just going to be something that's really going to help us overcome any obstacles that we do cross, just because there's two perspectives, and we're always open to listening to each other's perspective.
Yeah. And then are there, I mean, you talked about your old boss. I'm sure that he'd probably be open to, if you had any questions, calling him up and asking him.
Well, that was at that first shop that I was at, and then I went to a dealership, and then recently I was at another independent shop in Camarillo, and he has been really good. So I was over at Bumper to Bumper in Camarillo.
Okay.
And then that's where my friend Angel still works. So I can still call them, and then we share advice. So he was actually giving me advice on some of the programs that we're using and kind of what he's been doing. So his inspection sheets, he was kind of giving me advice on that. And even this week, I'm actually going to stop over there with him and go over some things on the system so that we can compare notes and kind of build. So he was actually really, he gave me a big push too to kind of be on my own, because when I got there, he said, I really want you to be here because you want to be here, not because you feel like you need to be here. And if you leave, I want you to leave because it's for something better, you know?
Yeah.
And then with him, it was really, we had a lot of good communication. So sometimes we wouldn't see eye to eye, but we would communicate, and he would adjust and I would adjust to that. So that was really nice to see, where you're able to talk to somebody and then they kind of reciprocate or listen to what you said. And then that's kind of, because I like that, that's the type of person that I want to be. And that's kind of how we would want to move forward with this business, as well as just being really open and transparent with people.
Yeah. Yeah. You learn how to collaborate, how to work together and communicate. Communication is such a huge thing. It's one of the things that I'm working on.
It's hard. I mean, I feel like sometimes we don't really get taught how to communicate. And then if you do communicate, it's not always taking the best way. Sometimes, you know, people take it as complaining, but it's just kind of everybody's perspective and how you explain yourself. And sometimes we just come from different backgrounds, so we don't necessarily share the same experiences or the same verbiage for the same thing.
Yeah. And then my wife, she's always, one of my biggest communication lessons with my wife is tone.
Tone?
Yeah.
That's huge.
Like it,
That's
you know,
huge. That's
and
huge.
I'll be like, I didn't say that, babe. And she said, well, it was in your tone.
Yeah. One thing that we're learning to communicate with my wife is, like if she has a tone, because I'm a sensitive guy and I get my feelings hurt a lot, and she's like, I didn't mean it this way, or I didn't mean it that way. We're learning that a way to diffuse ourselves is like, I'm sorry. I did not mean to make you feel that way. My intentions were not to do that, kind of thing. And that I've taken that over to the business, where sometimes, you know, let's say clients are upset and time wise and all these things, you got to learn how to communicate properly, you know? And that's one thing that we want to do, is also teach the community.
Yeah.
You know, I feel I have a lot of anxiety before the shop when I would go to the mechanic. You know, I don't know about cars. I don't know if this is actually needs to get done and stuff. So yeah, communication's huge.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love that about teaching. I've had my cars in a handful of different mechanics, and I've been to some where you take it in and then they give you a whole laundry list of all the stuff that they have found and you need to take care of. And then I've been to others. I went to this one in particular. It was right here in Simi Valley, and they took photos of all the like what was wrong with it. They sent me the photos. They included it in their quote. They didn't like fill their quote with a bunch of other stuff that just didn't need to be taken care of. And then when I went there to go pick up the car, they pulled out the broken parts and they showed me from the back, and they showed me like what was wrong, why it wasn't working anymore. And these are like parts in the engine. Like I don't understand that, you know, I don't understand that stuff, but like they're taking their time
peace of mind
to explain it. Yeah. And it's just like, man, like, okay, like I feel like I learned something, but I also feel like you guys did exactly what it is that you told me that you were going to do. And I see the broken part, so I know the broken part still isn't in there, you know, unless that's just another broken part from the back that they just pull out and show to everybody. I don't think that they did that. But I have such a higher level of trust, you know, because you guys did that with good communication, with full transparency, and with taking the time to do that and to answer any questions that I might have. So I think this community connection that you guys are in pursuit of is something that's going to be transformative, and not only for you guys in your business, but also for the community.
Yeah, well, I feel like sometimes unfortunately, people feel like going to the mechanic is like going to the dentist because you are going to get that long laundry list. But sometimes you can take the time to show customers the pictures, explain, we're letting you know about this because you're going to need it in a couple services, not necessarily right now. So you don't need to worry about this right now. Or sometimes it's nice to hear, hey, your car looks great. It really looks like you've taken care of it. Like, and it's a mechanic telling you that as well. So then you kind of feel good that your car's been taken care of, or whoever else you were at before was taking care of it.
Yeah, the picture thing is something we integrated into our system, and those are the things that we're figuring out. And then he'll come up to me, he's like, "You see, this is what's wrong with it," and I'm like, "I still have no idea what you're telling me, but for sure." But then he breaks it down even more, and that's something we wanted to implement later on, where we have free car care clinics. We bring people into the shop, they see what we're doing, and we help them. Where I don't know anything about like an oil change. He showed me how to do an oil change, and I was like, now that you explained it, this is a lot easier, and we want to teach people, we want to build that trust. Where I was like, if you ask the average person, where do you take your car and why? And they go, well, because I trust them. Yeah. And that's basically what we have to do.
Oh, totally. Yeah. And then what about just like raising up mechanics in the community?
Yeah. Yeah, that was, we actually have a friend who wants to work with us kind of thing. And again, since we're about sustainability over profit. The majority of the money goes to the shop and to the technicians. And when it comes to things like people that want to help or want to learn, we're open to sending them to school for it. We're opening for all those things. Or, like he was showing me kind of thing. It doesn't take much to help. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Sometimes it's just having the will to learn. So
yeah,
I've worked on cars since I was like 14, 15, just because I would get cheap cars that were broken because that's what I could afford at the time, fix them to drive them. But I never really wanted to be a mechanic because I felt like it was one of those fields where it was like underpaid and you just, people didn't want to like take their cars to you because they thought you were already going to rip them off or whatever because you're a mechanic. So it was kind of one of these industries where I thought, I'm going to beat my body up and I'm going to, not make that much. So why would I want to do that? And then after like, being in sales and I was making good money, but I wasn't really happy. I just sat down and thought about what I enjoy doing, and I enjoy working on cars and I enjoy helping people. So this is something that I can do to help people and I enjoy it. But then, it's also where there is the business aspect of it. But when I was working in sales, I was working at a company where the managers would really like, take care of the company. So, you get to see how everything works. You get to see how like they would get their bonuses or like things that they get to spend on the store, how they would distribute it. And, I was lucky enough where the mentors that I had would distribute it with the team and really take care of the team. And then you also see how that, it just builds a really good relationship. So I was able to see how, because I felt like, my manager was taking care of me a lot, it would push me to do a lot better at work. I would want to do better. I would want to have their back, make sure that they were meeting their goals because I was meeting my goals. But that can translate to anything, if you just take care of the people around you, they're going to want to take care of you because, you have their best interests in mind and they have yours.
Yeah, it's really like building a positive work culture.
Yeah. We had a guy on Saturday or 2 weeks ago come in. He needed the machine press. And when he asked us for help, I was like, yeah, dude. I'm like, swing on by. I'm like, oh, were you looking for us? He's like, no, I just Googled mechanic near me. I'm in a tight spot kind of thing. And we got to talking. And I feel like the majority of people just want to connect. Everything feels too business nowadays. But we were talking and he's like, oh, I like that a lot. And I took him back to the machine press and I was like, do you want to borrow it? He's like, what? What do you mean? And I'm like, that's the whole point, bro. We're neighbors helping neighbors. And he's like, bro, that's too much. And we did the job for him. And I was like, oh, dude, that took us 2 minutes to do. But he was so excited. He was like, you know what? I have 3 work trucks in my company. I'm going to start bringing them here from now on. Yeah. And it's just that, when you help people out, they help you back. You know what I mean?
Totally, man. Totally. So where are you guys at like currently with your business?
Currently, we are open and we're taking appointments, and I've been sending so many emails out, so many emails, and I actually have an appointment on Friday with the fleet account. They have over 50 cars, and they get serviced 4 times a year. And it's the whole thing that when a company works with us, they're helping the community not by like donations, not by anything, by action.
Yeah.
Because they're helping us stay viable. You know, the majority of that money goes to our technicians. The majority of the money goes out to the shop. So, you know, once we clear overhead and all that stuff, everything else is our time, you know? And when we have such a tight-knit community that we're forming, we never want to leave the shop. You know, we're just hanging out, we're working on cars. And we had a customer where he's like, I don't want to leave yet. He's like, normally you go to a dealership, and you're like, oh my God, it's been 2 hours. It's like, when is my car going to be done? But we were hanging out as friends, as a community, if that makes sense. So it's getting fleet accounts right now. We do want to start posting like kind of plaques of businesses that help us.
Oh, awesome.
And then the community knows, hey, this business helps us, so we can help you. You know, so things like that. It's trying to get the fleet accounts, trying to help out people where we can help them out. But yeah, we're still super, super brand new.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if anybody wants to, you know, find out more information about you guys, like where would be the best place?
You can Google us.
Google. He has Google set up right now. He has the phone set up right now, and then we're just slowly working on more things that we're going to set up. And
yeah, we're building the website. That way people can book appointments and all those things. Through our social medias, everything's Rubio's Auto Mechanic. But we are in Fillmore, and then our number's on there on everything.
Okay.
And we had a call right before actually we came here, and it was from, you know, an older lady, and she was like, oh, we're in a tight spot. This is what happened. And I'm like, okay, no problem. I was like, if you can send us your information, I'll send you out a quote. And me and Ivan were talking, and we're like, okay, this is, you know, we tried to be competitive, obviously, with our prices. But if she can't do it, I'm like, okay, we can work with you. You know, we see where we can help out and stuff. And eventually the goal is to be covered in fleet. That way, any community member comes and we help them out the best that we can, in the sense of, you know, whether we made a whole fund where we just pay out the parts completely, or they just pay for labor and things like that. You know, at the moment, it's kind of like a person
Totally
thing.
Yeah.
But
do you see it getting to the point where you're going to have some type of process of kind of qualifying the people?
We were talking about that earlier.
Because I could see that you would want to keep it to where you have a connection and it's relationship based, and so there's an understanding.
I think eventually what we would like to do is partner with other like community outreaches and things like that, where they kind of have a list of people who might need help, or, you know, in the community where maybe there's programs where people are trying to get back, like, you know, to work, or they need vehicles or things like that, where we could kind of help in that aspect.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Yeah. Like I had some experience with a nonprofit here in Simi Valley called Sarah's House, and they help girls that find themselves pregnant, and they, you know, need help. They need a place to live. And so they have houses where they could, you know, move in, be taken care of. But then they also have schooling, and they, you know, have different things so that by the time that they are ready to leave, you know, they're kind of ready to go out on their own. But one of the things that they have is they had a mechanic that would, you know, be over there, and on maybe every 3 months or something like that, any of the girls' cars that needed work on, he'd be over there, you know, working on it.
Yeah. So ideally that would be the goal. So that's kind of like the whole part of trying to be a community, is we're going to hopefully work with other nonprofits or other areas or people in the community where they kind of already have some people that they know are going to need help, and we just can provide either the help or even more resources, or connecting other people within communities to resources that they didn't know were necessarily available to them. So it doesn't always necessarily. So we are going to try and help like people as far as with their parts and labor and stuff like that. But we also want to help just the community by connecting more people within the community and, you know, helping our community out that way.
Awesome.
But I get what you're saying with the whole, like, the system kind of thing. My thing has always been, as a former homeless person, when someone says, oh, don't help out this person, they're just going to use it on X, Y, and Z kind of thing. And I was like, they're asking for help.
Yeah.
I was like, it's not me to judge whether they deserve it or not. If I can help, then I'm going to help. But it could be those things where, you know, someone could abuse the system kind of thing or something like that. And it's a far-fetched dream, 100%, to be viable enough to where no matter who comes in, we got them covered.
Yeah.
You know, it kind of like an insurance thing. And again, by companies working with us, they directly affect the community. So that would be the goal. That'd be really cool.
Well, I think it's a beautiful goal. And I love your guys' hearts, and I love what it is that you guys are doing. Is there anything else, any parting words that you guys would like to share?
Do you have any parting words?
I mean, well,
Not to put you on the spot.
Well, I mean, anybody can feel free to stop by, and then, you know, if they also want to see if there's a way that we can help anybody else out with the same goal, you know, we're always willing to listen, and we're here, you know. So if anybody else has any other ideas and ways that we can help the community or things that they know that the community is missing, we definitely would like to help fill in as well.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, thanks so much, you guys. It's been great again to meet you guys and getting to hear more about what's on your heart and what you guys are doing with Rubio's Auto Mechanic. I'm excited for your guys' future and definitely keep us posted.
Thank you. We really appreciate you having us on here as well.